What up, YouTube? In this video, I want to give a progress report on doing Mike Mentzer's ideal routine. I started in August. It's now at the end of October. You can go back and watch those workouts, but in this video, I kind of want to just give you the summary. So instead of having to watch all those videos, you could just watch this and get the gist of it. So first thing I want to do is just go through each main exercise and tell you what I was able to do as far as reps and weight on week 1 compared to the last time I did it this month. So let's start with chest and back. On the incline Smith, when I started, I was only able to do 3 reps of 180. Now this is not, I don't know how much weight the Smith machine has, so I'm just counting the plates that are on the Smith machine. The bar feels like it's nothing, so that's how I'm gonna count it. So 3 reps, 180. The last time I did it, I was able to do 1 rep, 210. So I definitely got stronger. Now I will say this. If you do 1 rep and you don't do anything else and you rest and you come back, chances are the 1 rep is not enough volume. So if you're asking when would you do a second set or a drop set, I would say when the volume of reps is extremely low. So probably if it's 1 to 3 reps, you could probably do a drop set. Now, if you're hitting failure at 6 to 8 reps, that 1 set is enough. When you come back, you will be stronger if you rest enough. But if the volume's low, that's when I would say a drop set is okay. And if the volume is 6 to 8 or more, then you don't need a second set. That 1 set is just enough. Next exercise would be the pull down. So the first week, I was able to do 4 reps at 220. And the last time I did it, the highest I could do was 2 reps, 240. So 20 pounds more. Again, though, on this, I probably would go back down a little in the weight and do like 220 and try to get more reps. And once I've hit enough reps on that set before failure, then I would move up to 240. Because when I did 240, I was only able to get 1 or 2 reps. That's not enough in my opinion. And sometimes you have to up the weight just to see what your limit is. But once you know, okay, this is kind of like my max weight, go a little bit lower just so you can get a little bit more volume, but you still want to do it to failure. All right, moving on to legs. So on the leg extension, I was able to do 11 reps, 175. And the last time I did it, I have to scroll over, I was able to do 12 reps, 205. So on the leg extensions, I made a big jump. That's a 30 pounds jump and just as many reps. So that one was really good. So on here, on the routine, you could either do a leg press or a squat. And in the beginning, I was doing leg press. I liked it. Then I tried the squat, but I noticed on the squat, my range of motion was kind of crap. So I kind of tried hack squat, and I'll be honest, at first, I did not like hack squats, but for whatever reason, doing this workout, I've kind of fell in love with the hack squat. I like the range of motion and how I'm able to go really low. And so that's what I've been doing the past couple weeks. But so on the leg press, when I started, I was able to do 12 45s in total on weight, 9 reps. And by the third time I did it, I was able to do 16 reps the same weight. And then that's when I changed. I probably should have stuck with it, but I don't know if the leg press, I don't know. I'm kind of second guessing the leg press. Whereas the hack squats, immediately I felt like I was getting some quad development based on the way it was forcing my knees to kind of bend in the range. So when I started off with the hack squat, not very strong at all, 9 reps at 180. And then right now I'm able to do 8 reps, 230. So when it comes to this, I am not a power lifter by any means. And my advice to anyone that's working out or trying to get into fitness, do not compare yourself to other people. What you need to do is compare yourself to you. So I'm not paying attention to what other people are lifting. I'm only interested in what did I lift last time and can I do better this time? And as long as you have that mindset and you stick with it and you're consistent, over time, you will get stronger, you will get better. And it's just a way more positive way to look at it. You're on your fitness journey, and that is based on getting better than what you were last time. That's all you should be focused on. Do not sit here and fall in the rabbit hole of comparing yourself to other people. I do not think that's healthy. Everyone's built different. You know, some people have different strengths and weaknesses. Do not fall into the trap of comparing yourself to other people. Just focus on you and getting better each time you go. All right, next exercise. So on the lateral raises, it becomes kind of tricky as far as progressive overload. I'm thinking about moving more into the machine. So the machine where you raise your shoulders, simply because between dumbbells and cables, you can only go so heavy and progress with it. So unless I just add way more volume or slow down the reps, I do see that being a situation where I'm going to plateau. So when I started, I was able to do 7 reps at 40 pounds. And last time I was able to do 4 reps at 50 pounds. So at this point with the weights, I can tell my form is falling apart. It's not as good. I'm getting comments telling me like, hey, quit ego lifting. And I agree. Like, there's got to be a different way to go about it. Now, I have seen where some people do like a pyramid workout for lateral raises where, you know, they might start at 20 pounds, then 15, then 10, and just really burn them out and get blood pumping. Maybe. I know I've done that before and had some pretty good results. So, but as far as like just trying to progress on this, I do think as you go heavy, whether it's dumbbells or cables, the form starts to break. Moving on to rear delts. First week, I was able to do 9 reps at 130, and this is with the pec deck. So I've been sitting sideways and going this way with it. So 9 reps, 130, and last time I did it, I was able to do 8 reps at 150. Then straight bar curl. I've been using the cable machine just because it's easy to set up. As heavy as it'll go is 200 pounds. And when I first started, I was able to do 7 reps. And the last time I did it was 12 reps. Press down. So the press down is towards the end of this arm workout. And so I'm not able to go as heavy. So I've been really just focusing on really controlling it on the negatives and just going nice and slow. First week, 6 reps, 150. And then last time I did it was 9 reps, 170. So in all of these, you can see that I am getting stronger doing this workout. It does work, but it will test you as far as having to take the rest days. If you're used to going to the gym all the time, you're not going to be able to do that with this because of the intensity. And what I will say is you're putting so much stress on the body by going to failure. You're not going to want to go to the gym the next day. You will feel it. And doing this workout, I find myself wanting to take naps. Before I did not have that issue. Now I'm like constantly fatigued and feeling like, okay, midday, I want to just go take a nap. My body is telling me like it's still recovering and it's very tired from these workouts. So I can see why some people have the argument of saving 1 or 2 reps in the tank simply because it allows them to recover a little bit quicker and go back to the gym sooner. Whereas when you do this, you're going to have to take several days of rest before you go back, simply because the central nervous system is just fried. And what's interesting too is with these, because the volume's not that much, I'm not really sore from it. So the next day it's not like, oh, I'm so sore, I can't go back. It's more like the next day I'm just fatigued, I'm just tired. And so it's completely different. And then also, because you're not going to the gym as often, you're not burning as many calories. So the amount of food that you need to eat during this kind of workout is way less than if you're going to the gym all the time. So if you're going to the gym 3 to 4 days a week, you can eat more because you're burning more. I could see criticism for this routine that, oh, I tried it and I got fat. It's like, well, you were overeating, because with this, you don't have to eat as much. I actually find myself eating way less and still like getting some gains. But a lot of that is because my activity is way lower. So the gym sessions are shorter. I'm not going as often. So I'm not burning as many calories. I'm not as active. Now, I have been trying to still go outside, walk, but most of those rest days, I'm just wanting to lay around and sleep, if I'm being honest. So there's pros and cons with this. I would say if someone were to do it, maybe do it for 2 months, okay? If you have plateaued and you are not getting any stronger, you could probably do this for 2 months. But just know that on the rest days, you need to eat a lot less so you don't get fat, and you will get stronger. And then after 2 months, because I've been doing it 3, and I can tell you like the fatigue is real. So probably at the end of October, I'm going to do a deload month in November where I'm not going 100%. Maybe it's like 80, 90% of the weights that I'm lifting, and I'm focusing a little bit more on volume and just being able to go to the gym a little bit more so I can eat more. But that's kind of where I'm at with this. It does work, but if you don't rest enough, if you try to go back too soon, you're going to undo a lot of that. Just be aware that when you go this intense and you're doing it to failure, you will be tired the next day. You will want to take naps. And on those rest days, because you're not as active, you just can't eat as much. If you ate the same as you did when you worked out 3 or 4 days a week, you will get fat. You will. Like, you're overeating, and on these rest days, you're just not wanting to do anything. I find myself literally wanting to just lay around and rest. My body is just like done. But I would advise this to someone who is maybe a hard gainer. So if you're skinny and you're going to the gym every day and you're not seeing results, you could be overtraining and you could be undereating. But by doing this, it allows you to just focus on getting stronger And on all those rest days, whatever you eat is going towards building the muscle. Whereas if you're going every day, you might be killing your gains. So you're overtraining. So instead of allowing the body to recover, you're just burning through all the food that would have went towards building the muscle. That's my summary so far. I do think this is very useful. It works. But the one negative is you will be tired. You will have to take a lot of rest days. And if you're not like really on point with your diet and tracking, you could get fat. This is a fact. One thing I'm trying right now is I'll eat a bunch the day before the workout and on the workout. And then on that day afterwards, I'll have a big lunch and then I fast. So I decided to just do a fast to combat the fact that I'm not being active. And just by doing that, my body fat is not going up, even though my activity is dropped. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to mention. But yeah, it does work. But being able to sustain this for a long time will take someone very mentally tough. I would probably recommend, like I said, 2 months, 3 at the most. And after that, you probably want to do a deload where maybe you go, because right now I'm going 2 times a week. So I might go Monday, Friday. On a deload, I probably could go 3. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's just I'm not going balls to the wall failure. And because of that, the fatigue is not so low. So I'm able to recover a little bit sooner and go back sooner. And because of that, that might allow me also to eat just a little bit more because I'm burning more. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments below. This whole thing has been very interesting to me because I had kind of plateaued, and a lot of that was because I wasn't pushing myself, but I also wasn't resting enough. I was just going too often, and so I was kind of just burning through everything. I've learned a lot. I kind of now know what intensity is. So when I do go to a workout, I know if I'm pushing myself or not. I do think everyone should at least experience it. And some of these exercises too, you almost need a training partner to really help push you to complete failure. And once you know what that feels like, you just have this reference to your workout. You know that if your workout was really intense or if you were not really pushing yourself. But yeah, that's my thought about it so far. I could see there's certain things I do want to keep, but then there's other things I want to adjust. And really the fatigue part is really the only thing that sets me back the most. Is I do not like being this tired so much. So maybe it's a situation where I have several weeks there deload, and then like maybe the end of the month, I do a workout like this where I really push myself, and then I kind of take a step back. Because I don't know if this is sustainable for a whole year where you're just completely crashing your central nervous system. I think it has a purpose, it has a place, but I just don't know if it's sustainable for a very long time. With that said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Have you tried Mike Mentzer's ideal routine? I've watched a lot of videos where people claim to try it, but they only do it for a week. And I don't think 1 week is enough to really get the gist of what's going on. I've done it for 3 months, and I can tell you, you do get stronger, but the only setback is you're going to need a lot more rest days because going to complete failure really puts a lot of stress on your central nervous system. With that said, we'll see you in the next one.